Right behind me you see my hardcore base, and for 3 years I have tried to build this base. Every single day I have thought, will I ever finish this base? And you know what? The answer to that question is no. So today we are designing a new base, from the bottom to the top. Let's go! The first thing I did was making a new Minecraft world with the seed 2239, which is the same seed I use in my hardcore build. Then I made a perimeter in the area where my base is currently located. The first thing I decided to design was the bedroom, because you know the bedroom has the crafting table and the bed, but I also want to have every single workstation in my bedroom. Just in case I ever in any niche scenario need a loom, then I'll have one right at hand. So that is what I decided to design. Okay, there's a good chance some of you are a little confused on what I just did. This is the mod Axiom. Axiom has a lot of different functions. It's especially good for designing and terraforming. I won't give you a full tutorial on the mod, as there are people that did it a lot better than I could ever do. So therefore I would recommend these videos instead of this video. However, I'm still gonna tell you that this is the noise function and I'm gonna use it a lot. Look at this, I made this little lever here. So if I pull it, the enchanting setup come up, and if I pull it again, it just goes down. That's kind of fun, isn't it? Does it serve a purpose? No, not really, but it's kind of fun. Now I need to decide where every single block and item in Minecraft goes in the sorting system. Of course, I have just scrolled the entire creative inventory, dropped it all into a bunch of chests and then sorted every single item individually. So in this barrel right here, we have the bulk items, then we have the normal chest haul items, then we have the items which are going into crafters before getting sorted, and then we have all these different things which are going into a miscellaneous item sorter and all getting sorted by copper golems. So now let's make the crafters, let's make the item holes, let's make the bulk storage, and let's put it all in place. Okay, while this guy just designs the floor and all that stuff, I want to tell you about who actually made the parts of my storage system. Because of course I did not design all of this myself. Okay, so first of all, the normal chest holes are by BPIM. The normal chest holes are these ones. The bulk I designed myself with this in-floor display by Felcudinator. And these top shulker loaders by Command Leo and Walter. You can find their credit in the description, and you can also find links to the Storage Tech Discord where I got all of this stuff. And then we have the multi-item sorter. The multi-item sorter is made by Rapscallion1138 and Mooney Researched, and this one I use is a slightly tweaked version by SergiD. Once again, you can find it in the description and on the Storage Tech Discord. I tried to just implement this into my storage, but as you can see... Huh? Why are you here? You're not supposed to be there. Wait. Is there something wrong? How did you get up in there? What the fuck? It had some problems. Of course, I later found out that the problem was hopper logging. I should probably explain hopper logging to you. So you have a hopper, right? A hopper checks if there's anything in it and above it, and it does this 10 times every second, I think. So if you have 1,000 hoppers, you're doing 1,000 of these checks, which really lags your game. So instead, you want to lock your hoppers when you're doing a big storage thing like this. And you lock your hoppers, which is basically turning off the hoppers, by putting a redstone block or a redstone signal into the hopper. So the multi-item sorter I used has hopper locking, but its hopper locking system isn't really that good apparently, because if I put items in it, it locks all hoppers before my items get all the way through the sorter, which, as you can guess, destroys the system. So instead I made my own hopper locking system for the entire storage. And after putting the miscellaneous item sorter in place, I just designed the rest of the storage with the use of Axiom and of course a lot of manual labor. Okay, now there's gonna be a little bit of talking. I'm sorry about that, but this is important. This here is the input system to my storage. Shulkerboxes goes into the chest and items goes into the Shulkerbox. So if I put these 17 lapis lazuli into the Shulkerbox, another Shulkerbox is dispensed underneath, and when every single one of the 17 lapis lazuli is in the Shulkerbox, it will be broken and then dropped by this dropper. So this is my input system, and I'm gonna have a lot of them all around my base. Also, I designed this myself. Next up, we have this thing here. This is a crafting station, and this is once again something I designed myself, because I thought, why should I sort iron nuggets and iron ingots when I can just compact those two items into iron blocks and then sort the iron blocks separately. That is what this system is for. Every single item you see here is just gonna be compacted into something that's way easier to store. And lastly, this here is my input system. I know I just showed you an input system, but this here behind me is an input system before the actual sorting system. It's also called a presorter. This machine here takes a Shulkerbox and takes one type of item out of the Shulkerbox. As an example, here we have a Shulkerbox with mixed items, and the machine will then check what is in the first slot. It's a spore blossom, and then it will empty the entire Shulkerbox for all spore blossoms. Then it will break the Shulkerbox and put it into rotation again. And since my entire storage system is based on water streams, multiple items can be over the same block, and therefore multiple items can be over the same hopper, making my storage system much faster. This machine here specifically has space for 16 different item types, and therefore makes my storage system up to 16 times faster than a regular item sorter, which is just based on hoppers. Of course, I didn't design this machine myself. It was made by RT5H3 and Eticle on the Storage Tech Discord, and of course credit in the description. Now I'm quickly gonna show you where I placed these things. So in my storage system, you can see pretty much everywhere I have these shulker boxes and chests, so I'm sure to have enough space to input all my items. These input systems output into green glass waterways, and these green glass waterways all link up into the presorter. And the presorter outputs everything into this blue glass, which is linked directly into the crafting station. After the crafting station, we have the bulk storage, and then the items go into the regular storage, and then the items goes into the miscellaneous item storage. And finally, it goes into this orange glass highway, which of course is the copper golems. Now we're actually gonna design my base, but first I should probably show you this in the Axiom painter. There's this tool called the rock tool, and as you can see, it makes pretty convincing rocks. And if you make it a little bit smaller, you can make some small rocks all around the place. But as you can see in my concept art here, I want a more triangular form of rock, so I'm gonna use another tool. And this tool is called the path tool. You see, with the path tool, you can make, funnily enough, a path. Here we have a path, and if I click enter, I paste the path in. But if I make my path with this setting, I can choose to override the radius on any one of my points. So I can make a bit more of a more realistic type of this hanging rock that I'm trying to do. So now we have something like this, which still looks like a rock, but is more like the shape I want. And this is exactly what I will do with the big rock. Another thing I want to show is that this path tool can also be used for other things. If we do something like this. And then if I just make a quick tool mask like this,
Reasons to start more families, reasons to build more homes. We need touch just as much as the air that we breathe. It's so clear, but we so distracted.
then we can pretty quickly make a pretty realistic looking snake. And why am I showing you this? Well, that's because I'm gonna have to design a snake later in the video, as you can see in my art here. Anyways, let's go do some designing.
Distracted, we do not see. Technology, is it a gift or just another curse? Cell phones moving fast, but the connection is worse. There's a lot of people hurting inside, they really crying, but they just smiling for the ground while they steady dying. And you know I ain't lying. If I am, then I'm flying, but my feet still on the earth, just as I write these rhymes. I'm trying to change the world with all my education, running from capitalism, headed for liberation, to spread to many nations. That's the dream that I'm chasing. So I keep praying for peace, change, and plenty patience. To chase your goals, wake up to break the mold, wake up to live out the moments of life and what it holds. Find something you can be, no matter what it is, and don't you ever give up. Remember your inner kid, tune out the noise, don't just be a moving car. Recognize where you are and how you came so far. Yeah, sometimes you got to give yourself a hug, just a reminder to you that you deserve love. You see,
arms around me, day by day. Why does it feel so?
Now that we have the basic rock shapes, we need to talk about the rock colors. We have 3 rocks, the orange, the green and the blue one. Blue one of course being the main rock, the main focal point of the base. So what I did was just scrolling the creative inventory, you know, this search items feature. And I selected all the gray blocks and a bit of the brown blocks that I thought could look good together. And after a lot of trial and error, I ended up with this layout here, with andesite stone, pale moss blocks and tuff for the normal diamond rock. And then I also wanted a more sandstony rock, which is the copper rock. And I decided to make that out of terracotta and mud and mushroom blocks. Also, because of microphone issues, I'm recording this after I built the base, and that's why I have to turn around whenever I enter or exit F5, or else you would see that, and that's the finished base, and I wouldn't show you that just yet. Anyways, let's hit some more music and build a little bit more.
I just wanna let it go sometimes. Free my head and clear my mind. I just wanna let it go sometimes. Free my head and clear my mind.
Okay, I definitely feel like this is looking pretty good. I'm just gonna have to do some small adjustments so this doesn't happen everywhere. As you remember, this is an island, and last time I checked, water in Minecraft wasn't made of lapis lazuli block. So we have to actually make the islands into islands that hit the ocean bottom, which will be down here.
If I wanna keep dancing through the night, and if I wanna talk until sunrise, if I wanna lose myself in music, no one can fight this feeling. And if I'm feeling dim, well that's alright. Just gotta stop hiding from my mind, 'cause it's better to let it be than to forget this feeling and let it go. How do we decide what we wanna hide? How was I supposed to know that I could let go?
Now once again I need to do all the small things, like fixing all these holes. So I'll see you once we are done with that. Now we finally have the ocean bottom, and I have cleaned up everything I thought should be cleaned up. Over here I've made a gradient from sand to mud with the use of this gradient painter, and then I just moved around these blocks until I got this. And I have put these gradients into this gradient painter, If I fly over here to this wall, so I can line up the position 1 and the position 2, then I'm gonna paint the entire aquarium here with the linear function. And as you can see here, it has a pretty smooth transition from sand down to mud. But since mud is really hard to obtain in large quantities and I don't really have a good wheat farm, I'm also gonna mix in some dripstone, and that is simply because I also have a lot of dripstone in my hardcore base. Okay, this looks a little better. Maybe it'll look much better when I have the seaplanes on there, so I'll quickly have to place all them. Now we can start asking ourselves about the details, because I want 2 entrances to my base from the surface. Of course, one entrance will be in the cave to my left here, not your left or my left, and I'm thinking that one entrance should be over here in this rock here. I think I'll have like a mineshaft entrance. Imagine like pillar here, gate on top, and then a hole in here where it will go in a few blocks and then just straight drop down. So I'm quickly gonna design that. You can probably see the reference art in the top corner of my screen. My reference is in fact the Minecraft movie Mineshaft from the beginning of the movie. You know, as a child I yearned for the mines. That scene. And I am planning to build the sign from that scene and place it here. Anyways, I have also added a few other decorations like this well over here. And this will actually have a little secret down here. You can see those 2 red blinking dots down there. And I assure you this is completely vanilla, and I'll even react with a heart to the first comment who actually finds out how I did this. Over here on one of the smaller islands I've also made this little fireplace. And over here once again on the main island I have made this beach parasol and these 2 beach carpets. A little away from them is this cannon on 2 wheels, which is aiming directly at a pillager outpost. And of course this cannon has a decorative heavy core just because I can. One thing I really want to add is a lot of foliage, but as you can see, since my base is in a savanna biome, a lot of foliage like these leaves are just gonna turn this orange greenish color, and I don't really like that. So I guess we'll just have to live without a lot of foliage. Or you could make it a feature. Who said that? That doesn't matter. But why don't you take the bug and make it a feature? I guess I could make it a feature if I tried. Let me try that. Wow, this looks so much better. Well, now I think we are completely done with the surface part of the base. While you weren't watching, I even added some more rocks under the water here to make it all look a bit more natural. But since we're done on the surface and underwater, it's finally time to begin on the caves. And you know what? I think I'm just gonna make it all into one big time lapse. Okay, we are finally done. Now I'm gonna show you some things I didn't exactly explain, just because I feel like some of you may be interested. After that we're gonna have a little music segment with a little fly around, and then the video will end. Okay, first of all, I talked about copper golems earlier. I have now fully implemented them into my system here. As you can see, I am standing on orange glass, and this dropper here drops items into this water stream and delivers items to the copper golem, which will be over here. This copper golem here will sort dyed glass, glass panes, candles, coral, concrete, all that sort. And if it can't find anywhere to place its item, it will go into this chest here, and this chest here will dispense items, as you can see, into this orange water stream, which will lead over here to this sorter. And this sorter here is specifically for all the copper variants and these miscellaneous pressure plates and buttons. If this copper golem doesn't find anywhere to sort its items, it will go into this chest here and then get dispensed into this water stream, which will bring the item all the way over here into this hopper, where copper golem is gonna check if it fits into any of these chests. And then it repeats, goes into this, gets dispensed here, goes to another copper golem, checks here, and finally it goes into this part of my sorting system. Here we have things that will just get burned, like all this, all this, all this will just get dispensed into lava and removed, because really I don't need to sort gas harnesses. Over here we have everything I want to smelt. That means that if I sort a wet sponge, it will just be turned into a sponge via this oven down here. We also have some things that just need to be composted, and some things here that just need to be crafted into dyes. Okay, I think that was everything down here. No, wait, actually I have this little thing. This is the beacon effect coverage. If I pull this lever, it will send a pulse down here and uncover these blocks for beacons all the way up into the air. You'll see in just a second that up here a door should open, like that. And then a door here should open. And as you can see, now there's full beacon coverage. Also a pretty fun fact. I have designed this base with elytra in mind, but you can actually get out of here without using the nether portal and without using an elytra or trident or any of that. You just need to follow this route. And then you're out. It's a pretty simple way, really. Okay, second to last thing. I quickly want to show you how I made those crystals. So, first of all, you're gonna have a flat surface like this. And you're gonna have your cliff face like this. So you want to go into the rock tool and choose the cone. You want to turn up the height of the cone and turn down the radius of the cone. So you get some pillars like this. Then we'll make a tool mask and say that we only want to affect lime wool. So we select the lime wool with the magic select, click Ctrl X and then unlock the rotation. So now we can rotate them on the X, Y and Z axis just as we want. And then we just force it into the cliff with these arrows like this. Then we click enter and do that with all our crystals. Now we want to make them more crystally. And we of course do that by scrolling this search items menu. I would suggest finding first of all the glass blocks that represent the color of the crystal. Then 2, 3 or 4 blocks that look like the color of your crystal. And finally a light block that looks like the color of your crystal. This is my main blocks, this is my glass blocks, and this is my light block. So first of all, we're going to go to the crystals and go into the noise painter, where we're gonna make 2 blocks and make them our glass. And then we're gonna make sure that we're only painting the surface of the crystals and that we are only able to paint crystals via our tool mask. So we do this, and now we have some glass. Now we need to involve our color blocks and our light block. And we simply do that by middle clicking our blocks and doing that. Now we're gonna make sure we don't paint the surface. So we are painting the crystals entirely. But as you can see, these glass paints here are pretty weird. They aren't updated properly. So what we're going to do is remove our tool mask, take the freehand select and select the entire build like this. Just draw all around it. Click operations and then trigger updates. And then we're gonna trigger the updates of all the glass paints and they're going to connect properly. Now of course you need to fly around a bit and just adjust the crystal until you feel like it looks right. Of course, in my base, I designed these a little bit more, not just in 4 minutes to explain this to you. Anyways, now we're finally gonna do the final thing. And I have really wanted to do this final thing for a long time. For an example, this stone here, it's full of stone, but why don't I just make it hollow? you know, like you normally do when you build things in Minecraft. You don't really build a stone and then don't make it hollow. You just build the outside and then we think it's hollow. You understand what I mean, right? So what we're gonna do is first crank up our window distance and make sure we don't have a tool mask selected. Then we're going into the box select and choosing one edge and another edge of our base. And then just make sure that we have selected everything and click enter. Now we're gonna go into operations and click the hollow button. Now the entire base is actually hollow. Of course, now I need to fly around and place blocks underneath all these gravity blocks here, because else they are just gonna fall and we don't really want that. And now we can also remove all these walls around our base, just to see what it really looks like. Just like that. Just look at how weird this looks from the outside. Like, I understand we're probably never gonna see this from the outside when we are done building it, of course. But this looks really weird, especially with the crystals just poking out like this. It looks really good from the inside here, but just really wrong and weird from outside here. Also, what is happening here? This is of course because we have this platform here with the sponges over the snake. But from the outside, once again, it just looks so weird. Anyways, I think we are finally done designing. And I've said that like thrice now. So, let's play some music, let's make an outro, and I'll see you in the next run. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe, I guess. Let's go!